Hello and welcome to the Work Hates podcast. I'm Bron Lewis. This is Bretty Blake. Everyone has a nightmare work story, whether it's a dreadful boss, a shitty workplace, or an insufferable colleague. If you've had none of those things, chances are you're the problem.
You could be the bloody problem. Today we are joined by a comedian, Liverpool fan, and my roommate in Queensland. Hell yeah, Gordon Sutherland. Thank you so much for coming on, dude. I'm so excited.
Thanks for having me.
Man, this is exciting. We were sharing rooms together. We did a Queensland run together on the Sunshine Coast.
Sunshine Coast, Kawana Beach.
Okay.
The one you haven't heard of.
I've never ever heard of it. Is it
very
nice?
few people have. It's a shopping centre. And it has
It's got an Aldi.
It's got a what's the word? Unsupervised
Very
beach.
nice.
So a
Unsupervised.
death sentence for English people.
Oh, yeah.
One of
And
them
for anyone, actually.
jiggy, rippy coastlines.
Oh,
Gordon goes,
yeah.
I went down for a swim, but it didn't look good. And I went down there. I was like, brother, that's a rip. That's a rip. Thank God you didn't go in. It'll be like, we've lost the headliner. We're fucked. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm just looking at these waves going, how can you tell? What voodoo is this?
Yeah. And I'm like, there's a shark that's visible. I'm like, this
Jellyfish going, come to
There's
me.
floating bodies. I reckon
Yeah.
it's not safe.
Man, it was the most unsafe beach I think I've ever seen. I'm
And
like,
this
don't
is
jump in, dude.
Queensland. You're there a lot because that's where I met you in
Yes.
Queensland. What is it about Queensland that drags you back there?
I kind of worked it out when I took the plane from Adelaide because I was surrounded by elderly people and I went, I'm now these people.
Oh, no.
And it's that old people from Adelaide go, oh, when it gets a bit cold, I can feel the weather in my bones.
Yes.
So they fly up to the sunny coast for a few weeks and I was one of them.
Oh, so you go when you're feeling cold. So you go
Just
in winter.
The last 3 years, I've gone to the sunny coast to do gigs in August as Adelaide starts to
And
chill.
you thought it was because you just like the gigs there.
I like the gigs.
But
I
then
like the scenery. I like walking Larry the dog, who we've talked about. That's Mick
Yes.
and Nicky's lovely Irish wolf terrier.
I don't know, it's a black dog.
It's
I'm
a
not
fancy
good at
black
It's a
dog.
f-
Fancy dog.
Isn't it a
Expensive
cavoodle?
dog. No,
Yeah.
it's much bigger.
Is it?
It's
Yeah.
too bougie for a comedian to own a nice dog
It
like
wears
that.
a green bandana when
Yeah.
Nikki's wearing green something. She matches the
hipster.
dog. Oh, God, they're so
They're
cool.
going to have to move to Noosa.
And they live in a van. Nikki and Mick,
Yeah.
they're
Van
the
life comedian on
yes,
Instagram.
and
yeah.
they are the comedians on Sunshine Coast. What they got? Funny on the Sunny is their
Funny Coast.
Funny Coast.
Funny Coast.
Funny
Comedy.
okay.
Coast is
Why
there.
did I think it was Funny on the
Monday
Sunny?
to Thursday, 7:30. I'll tell you all the venues. I don't remember them.
But they-
Maroochydore,
A
Namba,
boat that ruined my
yes,
life.
Freddie.
Right.
trauma boat.
Tell me about this boat. So you guys were at the Sunshine Coast at the same time,
I wasn't
and
on
then
the boat.
you
He was on
didn't
the
have
boat.
to do the
I had to
boat.
drive to the gig.
As if
Okay.
they'd make Gordon
I had
do
to
the
tread
boat.
water while he was telling jokes on water.
I thought it was a privilege to do the boat.
Man, to
Tell
be
us,
honest,
what are we talking about here, Bretty?
So comedy on a ship sometimes is in a cruise ship, and you go, oh, we got a gig on a comedy boat, and you go, great. This was a glorified dinghy. There was 20 people on this boat,
It's
and like.
not even a river cruise, like a creek cruise.
It's like it's a canal,
what, like a
creek.
paddle?
Man, it could have been in a swamp. I had no idea. But it's actually, I'm not going to shit on it. It's actually quite nice. They do this beautiful canal cruise, and it's like 20 people on there, and you got nowhere to move. There's a bathroom, and you have cocktails.
Where's the bathroom? Is it behind the stage?
It's next to the captain, and it's behind the stage.
So when you're
next to the steering
talking,
wheel.
someone they need to do a piece. Did that happen whilst you were performing? Someone's
Yes. And it was a shit. It went for so long. I was like, brother, use some Glen 20. It stinks out here now. No. So it happens on the...
That surely didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
I was going to, midway through a gig, this is
Yeah.
moving my bowels.
Yeah, I
Let's
need
go.
to poo.
Keep going. I can hear you through the door because I was standing next to the fucking door. But I'd done this gig before and I thought it was going to be bad, but it ended up being a great time. And I had an awesome... you got to bring your own speaker on there. You feel like a tradie. You're coming on with your own speaker. Yeah, guys, no worries. Just ruining everyone's night. A bit of comedy. Hello. Yeah, what's your name?
Feedback. Oh, sorry.
Oh, we did a full sound check. And I'm like dialing it in. They got a
Also,
guy.
they gave him, the night before, they gave him the speaker.
Yes.
And so I took a picture of him walking through the car park. Because everyone says, great gig, because they see you carrying the speaker. Is that the comedian? I think it is. They're carrying a speaker.
And
so
Which
we did
isn't a good sign of a good
no,
comedian.
that's what I'm saying. I look like a loser, and Gordon, and I was like,
No, we posted it on Insta like he was so good. You know when you get a hat trick in soccer, you get the match ball.
Right,
He
I
was
didn't
so
know
good.
that.
They gave him the match speaker. That's his to keep.
I got to keep the speaker. I also look like I did a crime and I got a mullet. Doesn't fucking help. I'm walking around with this speaker like, it's for my gig tomorrow on a dinghy. Thank you, fuckheads. It was better. I was like, it was great. And then the guy, a young bloke, you know him. Who's that handsome chap who lives down there?
Kyle.
He's
got a Polish last name. I can't remember his.
Kyle, who lives on the sunny coast, handsome man.
Moustache fella.
Was he
Is he blonde?
Yeah,
He's
I think
blonde.
so.
He looks like.
Yes, and he picked you up from the airport.
Do you remember his last name?
Wasinski.
I reckon you're bang on.
Worcester?
Oh yeah, my kids have a Polish last name. Okay, I'm gonna spell my kid's last name. Well, is this safe? Anyway, you try and pronounce it. Owczarek.
Rumpelstiltskin.
That's pretty funny as a mum going, I can't even pronounce my kids' names.
How would you pronounce that?
Ovcharek.
Oh, remarry.
I know. And the poor things, like my last name's Lewis. I'm like, they could just have my last name. And he's like strangely patriotic. I think men are like that.
Could you not have that double-barreled and just go, oh, Lewis? Get some of that sweet Irish coin?
That sounds so good. Sweet Irish coin. Yeah. The Irish have a great reputation. No,
For
I have
having heaps of money and not living off potatoes.
Yeah, no addictions.
Yeah.
But I got the middle name, so I just named all my kids have middle names after my family. Like his family didn't get a look in because they've got the most impossible last name ever. They just got punished. None of their teachers know their last names.
It's a Scrabble score though. What a surname.
I know. Yeah, exactly. He was introduced at a wedding once because he was someone said, "Oh, and the next person is making a speech is Lucas. Can I buy a vowel of Charik?" Which I thought was pretty fucking good. I thought it was very good. Anyway, so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay.
Anyway, young bloke
Kyle?
giving us a hand doing this gig on the dinghy. We have a great weekend, and but the thing is, he's like a young, handsome dude. And I was like, man, he's going to be he's a comedian as well. Like, he's going to open. And also there's all these like middle-aged women on there and they're fucking loving him. As soon as he walks on, they're like, who is this young man?
Yeah, he's
and
so
then
handsome.
Like, oh, are you the comedian? Because he got a bit of swagger about him.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, it's me. The one you definitely don't want to talk to.
The guy dressed in black with his own speaker. You mean the roadie?
Yeah.
The roadie's funny.
Aren't you carrying the speaker? And I said to him, I was like, I'm bombing. I'm going to bomb. And you need to carry the speaker. I'm not pulling rank here, but you're carrying the speaker. He's like, I'm not fucking carrying the speaker. I was like, fuck, I'll carry my own fucking speaker. Had to plug it in, turn the
picked
light
up
on.
the speaker, picked up Brett.
Oh. It was, I was like, this is going to go bad. And it went okay because I got heckled and it worked out well for me. I got heckled early.
Box.
Someone saw I was on Deal or No Deal and one of the people behind me holding a box roasted me about she matched with me on Tinder. Have you seen this clip?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Matched with me on Tinder. I was meant to go on a date with her. She ghosted me because I was homeless. Anyway, whatever. Move on.
What a picky bitch.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, sorry. I want a man with a house. Well, you don't have options. You're dating me. So, and
well, she did have options. She ghosted
like your place or your place.
Yeah, yeah. No. She's always in my place. It's outside. Welcome home. And so I get roasted about this on TV, and they put it in the fucking Daily Mail and all this shit, and I get shit hanging on me, whatever. Funny. And then someone, and I just before I start talking, someone goes, hey, aren't you that guy that was on Deal or No Deal that chick gave shit to? And I went, yes, that was me.
You
and
loved it.
I did because I didn't have to do stand-up. And then
crowd
I was like,
work.
guys, do you want me to do stand-up or do you want to hear this insane story? And they're like, oh, we want this insane story. And then I just told them that story for like 15 minutes and I was like, and 3, 2, 1, job's done. And just as the boat docks, I'm like, see you cunts.
Yeah,
I mean, I have to go back
perfect.
and grab the speaker. But yeah.
I love that you gave them 2 options, but secretly they wanted the 3rd option, which was, can Kyle do this?
Yes.
Please, can the
with no
handsome
shirt.
man? Yeah.
Put the captain's hat on him.
Yes, please. Yeah, he is a very handsome young man. I hope he listens to this. He wouldn't.
He's busy. He's probably too
He's
busy.
busy.
Hanging
Busy
out with
what?
hot chicks.
He's got a girlfriend.
banging.
She's me.
Ah.
Okay, so Gordon, you hung out with Brady for some time in Sunshine Coast. Did you have a good
Fun
time?
date. I really did.
Yeah.
The gigs were fun. Also, he was on a bit of a health kick. So I know Brett as a blackout drunk Melbourne comedian.
Correct, yeah.
But we were like, let's get up early and go to the beach. And
Like for a swim.
yeah, we found a beach that wasn't hazardous.
It was beautiful.
There was
Yes.
one that was like in a, what would you call it, a bay.
Yeah.
I
And it
would
had
call
flags
that.
and supervision.
It was the
Yes,
most
supervision.
romantic weekend of my life.
My
Every morning we'd
God.
get coffee together and we'd
with
go
a
for a
lovely.
freckle on top.
Oh, and they gave us a chocolate freckle on the
They
coffee.
do love that in Sunshine Coast.
And then we'd
Sunny
swim
coast.
together and then we'd go get lunch. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. I've
Oh,
never...
you guys hung out heaps.
Yeah, it
you
was
guys know
nice.
everything about each other.
Too
should
much.
I?
Yeah,
should
too
I
much.
leave? You guys could tell
3,
each other.
2, 1, Gemini.
Damn it. Oh. All right, I'm back to being a blackout drunk. My brain doesn't work again.
But you travel a lot for comedy. But what this podcast is about is nightmare work stories. And I
Yes.
must know, what is the worst job you've ever had? Firstly, tell me, how long have you been a comedian for?
I've been a comedian nearly all of my adult life.
Okay, great. So that's mostly of your jobs have
27.
27 years.
Wow.
And you don't look a day over 30.
28.
Thanks.
That was a
was
compliment. I'm
great.
trying to give you a beautiful compliment.
Thank you kindly.
Because you don't drink. Because Brett and I look like
For a whole
dog
week.
shit.
Yeah.
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 But
so
so-
holier than thou. What? I had a drink for a week. Look
yeah,
at me.
if I hadn't had a drink for a week, that's all I talk about. That's all people who've just given up drinking can
That
ever
was
talk
us.
about.
When
I
we
know.
went to a pub
Is that
and
all you talked about?
And ordered 2 soft drinks.
We went to the RSL at Wakana Beach. And it was just before 6 p.m. It was
Yeah.
magical. Just before 6 p.m. Everyone stands up, lest we forget. And
Yeah.
then everyone sits back down again. And of course, I'm English going, surely it's a minute silence. Because that's what we do in the UK.
Right.
I didn't even realise because I've been to RSL pubs before, but maybe just that specific one. They do a moment for the diggers, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
But I was like, what is happening and why are we all standing? And then Gordon's like a child going, isn't it meant to be a minute? I was like, shut up, Gordon. Shut up.
And lose the accent.
Yeah.
You're going to get us back.
You made us do this war.
Where's
It's your
Kyle?
people.
Where's
Yeah.
Kyle? Where's
Yeah.
Kyle? We need Kyle.
Yeah.
So if you have been a comedian for 27 years of your life,
Staggering, isn't it?
does that mean that your worst job ever has been as a comedian?
I'd have to say no because
Wow.
before I got in, no, because I worked through university. I actually got a job before university as well, and worked through university.
What did you
and
do at uni?
oh my goodness! Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Deep breath. Theatre studies and dramatic arts with a side of film and philosophy.
Unemployed. I get it, dude. I get it.
So what's the most unemployable I could
Yeah,
be?
you did not want a job.
Because I thought, drama degree, yeah, but what could I put on top of that?
Yeah,
To
philosophy.
assure people that I'm not fit for purpose. Philosophy and film studies.
Philosophy. I just didn't hear the philosophy part. I was like, dude, you are
You
killing
zoned
it.
out.
Your parents would hate that debt. You know what I mean? Or whoever paid for it. Jeez.
And they're just going, so you're going to smoke weed for the 2 years? I went, yes. I am."
Correct. Well done.
Yeah, correct.
Thank you, MacGyver. Carry on.
So at uni, I had some bar jobs and restaurant jobs. And also, because I wanted to be an actor briefly, I had some summer jobs. And 2 or 3 of those would be a candidate for worst job.
Right.
So there was the one day in a sandwich shop. Now I thought, sandwich shop, what fun.
Easy.
Drama student.
Fun.
Hello, what would you like? Make the toppings, pop them in, put the lid on. There you go. Have a lovely day. But no, I was an assistant sandwich maker. And that's
What?
different.
What
You're
does
not
that
allowed
mean?
to see the people. You're underground in a dungeon.
Okay.
And this was a long time ago. And they said, you're mostly in charge of our most popular sandwich filling, which is the B in the BLT. So I had to cook the bacon. But not cook the bacon, pre-cook the bacon. They actually did all the fancy, the crisping up, the fun bit
What?
upstairs.
Oh, so you like to make it just soggy?
So I got up at 6 a.m. to make it soggy and smelly and greasy, and then kind of sloop the grease off the top into a bin, and then drain them a bit, and then send them upstairs.
That was your
Oh,
job?
when do I get to do the, oh, hello, you look nice today. Oh, what a lovely doggy. You know, all the fun stuff, front of house
Well,
stuff.
you're just really driven by dogs, aren't you?
Yeah.
It does seem that way. But
it
Brett
was,
had
I
a
was
job at a
just
sandwich.
bacon wrangler.
Brady had a job at a sandwich place once.
I was Gordon.
Ask
I
him
don't
how-
say
Sandwich artist.
I was. I was about to say, Gordon, I don't want to brag, but you're actually speaking to a sandwich
Yeah.
artist.
Ask him how long his
So
career
I would have
was.
cleaned your brushes.
Oh, thank you.
Stretched your canvases.
Ask him how long he lasted in his
How
job.
long did you last?
4 hours.
I think it's Snap.
Oh, you did 4 as well?
I think 'cause
Oh,
my
what?
first shift was 6 a.m. Around about 11 a.m.
No.
Oh.
I just went, can I make sandwiches? And he went,
So wait, your worst job, you lasted 4 hours.
oh, there's others.
Okay.
But this was.
It's a long podcast, Bron. We can get to them all eventually.
all day.
But this was one that sticks in my mind just because the smell of the not quite
Bacon.
burning, but 1990s microwaving of flesh.
Yeah, that would be
And
horrible.
it wouldn't have been great. Oh,
And it was
So you
cheap
la-
bacon.
Cheap, yeah.
And you lasted one day.
Did one shift, and I just went, thanks
No
very much,
thanks.
it's not for me.
All I've learned
Did
from
they
this
pay you?
podcast.
I believe so.
Yeah, great.
It was cash back then.
I worked in St Kilda. Sorry, Brady. I worked in St Kilda, where you are,
Yep.
on Ackland Street. It's a very touristy street. When I first moved to Melbourne,
All
the first
cakes
job
and
I had.
massages. I've been there.
Yep, I worked at this place called.
Can you get massaged with cake?
If you pay enough, I'm sure. It's a place called Good
Bring
Flavors.
your own cake, get a massage. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. Work the shoulders.
There's this cafe called Good Flavors, and it was run by the biggest cunts in the entire world. They were just horrible people. It was a family. It was just like I couldn't tell. The only nice one was the mum, and everyone else there was just horrible. And they would get on like a Saturday and Sunday, were obviously the busiest days of the week, and they would get. Constantly be backpackers dropping in resumes all week. And so on Saturdays and Sundays, they would get someone in as a trainee. They'd be like, yeah, we'll give you a trial shift. And they would get them in for like 8 hours. And then in the end of the trial shift, they'd go, thanks very much, we'll let you know. And they'd go, and then they would not pay them. And then the next day you'd get a new trainee come in, like all like dressed as like, sensible.
Bought a new shirt.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they'd work and then like a couple of times they'd cut during the week they'd come in, be like, do I get paid for that shift that you're not like, or do I not? Or they go, nah, it was a trial.
An internship.
Yeah,
Tidying
no,
away
you were lucky.
plates.
You were lucky to get that.
Lucky
That was
to-
horrible.
Put people's stuff off their plate into the bin. You're welcome. You got that.
Oh, they didn't get anything. They even had to pay for their lunch whilst they were working
imagine
there.
if the comedy circuit had anything like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, wait, hang on a sec. Is that every night of my life I don't get paid and I'm putting slop into a bin?
Brady did a free gig last night. Tell us about your free gig
Gordon,
last night.
I don't want to make this podcast about me, but I need to tell you this story
Yes.
because I know you will love it
Yes.
so much. So a friend started a gig just 2 doors down, opening night, first time there. He goes, look, I don't think there's going to be anyone there at the comedy show. And I'm like, yeah, it's first night, doesn't matter. I'll bring some mates. It'll be fine. We'll have a good time.
okay.
I'm bringing people already, so you know it's bad, dude. You know it's bad. I've been doing this for 12 years. If I have to bring friends, it's bad. And so anyway, there ends up being 20 people there. Not too bad. But then I noticed before the gig started at 8, 7:30, I go there for a beer. There's like the drunkest lady in the world is on the street, and she's dressed like she just came back from a Taylor Swift concert. So
And
she's got
maybe I
glitters,
had.
glitters. She's probably still going from
month ago.
From a month, man. She was that drunk. She could have been going for a month straight.
Yes.
So these 4 lovely girls are like, ma'am, you look a bit intoxicated. Come in, we'll get you a glass of water. And she drinks a glass of water, then goes to the bar and orders 8 shots for 4 people and continues on her path of destruction. And that story's happening. I go upstairs and go, yes, comedy gig's happening. My mate's on. He's emceeing. And then I was meant to be third. Anyway, end up, can you quickly switch and go first? No drama. And my mate who's emceeing goes, right, Connie's on. And he goes, right, so my mother-in-law, it's the first time she's ever seen me do stand-up comedy and she's coming to this gig. And I was like, dude, this is such a fucking wild risk. This sounds awful. So, but he goes, but she's not here yet. But just so she thinks I'm great, when she walks in, I'm going to say the code word bananas or whatever. And you guys, you're going to laugh and like act like I'm the best comedian in the world. Everyone's on board. Everyone's having a great time. Mother-in-law comes in, bananas. Whoa, love him. Right?
Yeah.
Great. Then, the drunk cowboy lady from the Taylor Swift concert a month ago.
They're called cowgirls.
Cowgirls.
Thank you.
Comes in to the gig, and then he goes again, because obviously she was a little bit older, 67, goes, well, mother-in-law joke, goes, bananas, because actually that's my mother-in-law. Laugh. Good
Very
time,
funny.
Funny. She goes, what the fuck did you just say to me? Like slurring.
Yeah. She
And
can,
he's like,
all she sees is everyone laughing at her. Yeah.
Yes.
She thinks that everyone's laughing at her, which is not true.
Which is not true. And then she goes up to him and just like, and because the gig, there's no stage, walks up to him at eye level and just starts berating him. You're a fucking piece of shit. Why are you talking to me like this? And like deluded, like, I don't know what you're doing this for. Like, and my mum was, and I'm like, doesn't make any sense. And then
Yes.
Nick's already 10 minutes into his MC spot. and looks. So she's standing in front of him. So he looks behind her and he goes, Brett, you're ready to come on, yeah? And I'm like,
take the bits out of this.
and I'm like, do I have a choice? And he goes, anyway, welcome to the stage.
Oh my
and I'm
God.
like, fuck. So she calms down a bit in between when I walk up.
Yes.
She goes back to the bar. Good. More alcohol helps.
Yeah.
She needs it.
And then Nick Kwan, I don't know if you've ever met him, looks very, I mean, we're both bogans, but he's got a flannelette shirt on, he's got long hair, scruffy shoes.
He's a Tasmanian bogan.
He's a Tasmanian bogan. I walk on the stage and I go, let's not go to that world. Let's just have fun over here. Hey, great. How good's the comedy gig? Love comedy. But then the lady turns around and thinks I'm still Nick.
Yeah.
And then goes, and the other thing, and then starts berating me. And I had to say, so I said, ma'am, I'm not Nick Kwan. And she's like, no, you're, and then I got it on camera. 2 minutes, she's screaming at me, grabs the microphone out of my hand.
Oh.
She's like, you're uneducated. And I was like, yes, I am. And then she's like, you're this, you're that. And I was like, oh, man, I'll give you the thing. And also I was on a date. And this is the first time she's ever seen me do stand-up comedy.
A date that
Nick's got the mother-in-law, you've got the date, so the stakes are
like
high.
Very high.
A good date, like a date that Brett's
was
invested
important.
in. Yes.
No, yeah.
It
was
is.
Nice
You're
time.
invested in this one.
And it's so fucking stressful. But I'm like, I'll give her the mic, maybe because she's taken the mic. I'll give her a moment. Let her say the horrific things about me, which is really about Nick. And Nick didn't say anything rude
It's like
to
a
her.
spontaneous roast battle.
Yeah,
There's
but
someone you
just
can't comprehend. And then I give her the mic, and then I sit down, she says some stuff, and then I go, guys, by the way, I'm on a first date as well. And like people are like, oh, that's so funny. And I'm like, this could not have gone worse if I tried. And like I'm screaming over her because she's still got the mic.
Yeah.
So I'm louder than her.
She's chuntering away.
Yes, still like, oh, and you're fucking blah, blah, blah. And then I have to stop the show. I said, okay, cool. I've got the laughs out of it, but I can't do anything with this. I have to just go, guys, I'm so sorry. What we need to do, because I don't know how to deal with this, because you can't argue with someone who's that intoxicated.
I imagine it gets super glued to her by now.
Oh, and I didn't want to yank a mic.
You
out of
can't.
No,
You can't.
And so I was like, she might have been having a tough time. And
She obviously was.
she had a day. We've all had a day like that in our life.
No, we haven't. Not all of us.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have done that.
Just refer to it as a month. As well.
it was a month.
Long ass day.
She's like,
I'm having a bad August today.
Hang on a sec. Why you're holding a microphone and you're not Taylor Swift? Am I not at the concert anymore from 3 months ago? And so I was like, we're just going to have a little break and we're going to come back. And then I had to stop the show.
Yeah.
And then the bar tenders obviously escorted her out. And then I got back on and I'm like, I don't know what to do with any of this information. And I'm so sorry. And I said I was on a date, I was like, how do you think this date's going? Out of like 10? And she's like, I reckon a 15 out of 10. I was like, thank you. Okay, so this is funny then. This is funny. I was like, this is actually the worst gig I've ever done. And you've now seen rock bottom.
But she would have thought, this is his job. This is your job. What am I doing here if this is this guy's job?
Or like an elaborate thing from a Netflix film where you arrange for the drunk woman. You paid her to come and sabotage the gig so you could look like a hero.
Oh, like a hero.
Yeah.
Like the guy from Baby Reindeer paid for a stalker. I'm joking. I don't know. No, he didn't. I'm sure he did.
Serious about this guy.
He's done very well. She was mad. But Gordon, have you ever taken a lady to a date? To a gig that has not gone well?
I've taken, oh my God, one of my best friends to a gig and it didn't go well, but that was her fault because she thought
it's always
that
a
lots of
woman's
alcohol
fault.
and cocaine would make her helpful.
She was at Brady's gig last night.
Yay! But I had a flashback to, I took my parents to a gig. So
This never goes well.
Worse.
one of my first times in Australia, and I'm about to marry an Australian. I said, "Oh, come and we'll just have a look around Australia. You'll love it." They booked into the Shangri-La in Sydney, and I'm doing some sort of suburban gigs in and around Sydney, and I didn't know the true horror that would unfold when I said, I'm doing a gig at Penrith Panthers.
Oh, I've done a gig in Penrith before.
Why don't you come along?
Oh, my Lord. Wait, was it for the Penrith Panthers?
It was in the RSL in Penrith, not for the team, for the
This
for
is
the
not gonna go
people
well.
on a Thursday night who are in the RSL. And in case you're wondering, that's not many people.
Okay.
So
no.
it's a microphone, no lights, next to the snooker billiards table. Sorry,
Yeah,
pool table,
they're
pool
very
tables.
notoriously very quiet.
So there's a few people at the back of the room, and my parents, and I think they've paid like $100 in an Uber to get from Sydney to Penrith,
No.
and they're going, "Oh, when's the show start?" And I said, "I think it started already." And the MC goes on, roundly ignored. Act after act go on, roundly ignored. But I've got that weird belief that every comedian has. I'm the headliner. I'm going to pull this out of the fire.
Yes.
If anyone's going to pull it out of the fire,
Please.
it's going to be me.
Yeah.
Watch this, Mum and Dad.
English and charming. Mum, Dad, don't give up faith. Thanks for flying for a whole day and a half to witness this bin fire that is unfolding before you. And I start doing the gig, and of course I'm getting nothing. No one can. There's hardly anyone there.
Impossible.
But towards the end of the gig, the punters, who look like sort of extras in a bikie gang video shot by someone who's never seen a bikie gang, they all sort of start to edge towards the stage. And I go, yes, I knew it. Just be patient, Gordon. You're winning them over. They're coming towards the stage. Yes.
They love me.
I'm wrapping up. Big finish. Got a few laughs. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I realised the reason they were coming towards the stage is they wanted to be the first ones to put their dollars in the pool tables. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Oh my God.
As soon as I'd finished, clonk, balls, off we go. That's what we've been patiently waiting for you deluded tits to finish so that we can do what we came here to do, which is play each other at pool.
So they were actually very polite. If you
Very
could
long Uber home.
they could have heckled. They
They
could have
could have
been
done
like,
it during the show.
finish,
Well, I think
shut
there was
up.
heckles. I think, that they were disinterested.
Indifferent. It's
They don't
the
want to
worst.
be
A
there. I always say
slack jaw.
sometimes those gigs, and we all have to do them.
Not me.
Not you. Sorry, Bron's different. But
I do them all the
must
time.
be nice. Not for us hard workers on the fucking dinghy out there, dude.
Yeah.
Thank God they never life raft
Or
on the
open
fucking
water.
jungle.
Catalina Cruiser.
The Catalina Cruiser.
Yeah.
Get around it, guys. Shout out to Sunshine Coast Festival. Thanks for having me.
Up and down the
Shout-
swamp twice,
you so much.
$29 a person, no food provided.
Thank you.
Very good experience.
They were so fucking loose. There was definitely no food on there. They
No,
were so
but
drunk.
Kyle's there, so
Kyle
what do
was
you
there
need?
and he was looking
Feast your eyes on that.
But those gigs that they make you do, like at an RSL or a place that sometimes the venue put on for live entertainment, and people are there and they're like, oh, it's an event. It's like a musician. Oh, no, we have to have live entertainment. You're doing comedy to fucking no one.
They have to have live entertainment so the bar can stay open
Yes.
later. Yeah.
Yes.
That used to be the law in I think,
Queensland,
I
right?
think it
as
still
well,
is.
yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
And
Well,
it's
that's why
insane-
I think that a lot of there's Runaway Bay in Queensland where
Yep.
no one actually turns up, but they have a gig I don't know if it still happens, but a lot of the gigs around
I've
Brisbane
done
and
multiple
Gold
gigs
Coast,
with
you would
no
have,
one in the room.
you
but
have
you
to do
get
it.
paid.
And the guy, and I go, this is off. And they go, no, you've got to do the show. And I'm like, there's no one here. They go, yeah, but you got to do the show. And I've done a show to no one.
Oh,
Like
that's
just
awesome.
talking to the atmosphere.
That's the dream gig.
Oh, you're going to love Edinburgh.
I was like, brother, you've not seen my solo shows. That's every night of the festival. No one's coming. Where are you?
Come to the Fringe.
Yeah.
Because I did think that was the rule in Queensland. So I was like, oh, that's the reason why we're doing so many dreadful gigs. Is because, like, in order for the pokies to continue, they have to have a
some
certain amount
casinos
of
had to put on comedy in the old
yeah.
days.
But so even the Star Casino at the Gold Coast, that
When it was
one-
Jupiter's, I believe.
Oh, right. Okay.
Way back, yeah.
Well, I did a gig at the Star Casino. I'm sure you've done it as well.
I've done it.
Oh, you've not? You've done it.
I've done it.
Did
that
you
was
do-
one of the empty rooms I was talking about. And it's a big fucking
It's
space.
big.
It ain't a small room either. It's like playing a stadium to no
Did
one.
you have like dry ice and flashing strobes?
There's lots of things.
There was
They
a
had-
disco ball going in the background. There's strobe
All
lighting.
you can hear is the clack of its rotations. No other noise. Oink, oink, oink.
And then the State of Origin was on.
Perfect.
So, and it's Queensland. You know how, like, in Queensland, they hate rugby league and no one
Yeah.
doesn't watch it. So everyone's
Yeah.
watching the
No,
rugby
Brett,
league.
if anything, it's the opposite.
You idiot,
This is why
Brett.
there's no one there. It makes no sense. They love comedy and hated rugby league. And so there's no one in the thing. And then and so throughout me playing to an empty room, you hear, yeah! Of like clearly 1,000 people just not in the same room. And I'm like, so my mum never used to hug me. And it was like, and then some guy walking past in the empty room and I'm up there talking
To no one.
to no one goes,
I-
Queenslander! And I'm like, oh my fuck.
It's what to know. What was the sound guy laughing at your jokes at least?
He fucked off and watched the rugby as well. He
Yeah.
turned the shit on.
So you could have stood there in silence.
There was
Missed opportunity.
four people, but they were so far back because it's such a big room.
Huge.
They were like, honestly, it felt like 200 meters away. And I
Yeah.
said, can you move forward? And they were like big Queenslanders, and they went,
because it's
"Absolutely
just
not."
like the seat. There's a seat that hugs like the
Yeah.
border of the room.
perimeter people,
Yes,
the
and then
centrifuges.
when I was there, they had bean bags on the floor.
no.
What
For
a
the
beauty!
kiddies?
Nope, for the adults. So the adults, there'd been like
Get
a
'em a couple
bunch
high
of
chairs as
people
well.
just sitting, you know. So, and I was like, oh, this is a horrible way to watch comedy in a bean bag. So that was
Going
when
to
I,
a casino and sitting in a beanbag, it doesn't feel good.
and you could just see all this, like your face keeps lighting up every time someone wins something in the casino.
Yeah, and the noise of the blue.
Yeah. And no one cares if there's anyone in there or not because they're like, we have
Also,
to
if
do
you
this
get an
legally.
audience, generally, they're the people who are sad because they've spent their money on.
Oh, they've got no more money to
No
spend, and it's free because we're there.
And they're going, if we stay here till
Oh,
midnight,
Gordon.
then we get another, credit limit on our card, and we can crack on.
And I forgot the
That's
saddest
so
part
true.
was because when you're in the casino, you are technically an employee, which I'm fucking my own boss. Go fuck yourself. So I bought a beer, and I'm technically an employee for this limited amount of time. I don't remember signing any contracts.
You are.
Start drinking the beer. Manager comes over, takes the beer off me. Sorry, mate, you're working. You're not allowed to drink. I said, can't. How else am I meant to get through this shit? Like,
Did he really?
yeah, he took my beer off me. Couldn't drink while working. I was like, I didn't sign any contract.
Well,
You don't
pour
just
it into my
I
handbag.
quit.
Yeah.
And
You should
I
have.
really need that $200, Gordon.
Yeah, I'd like to rejoin the workforce now. Thank you. I've drunk my beer.
So you're a bacon cooker, and then you were what else? What is another dreadful job
so,
you've had?
we
It
had
could
this-
be comedy
We've had
if
some
you want.
harebrained. I'll get to the comedy later, but a harebrained scheme we had to fund an Edinburgh Fringe run was to go gooseberry picking in Warwickshire, Shakespeare's country, if you will.
Okay.
So we're studying. We're
Is
studying
it a fruit?
Gooseberry is a prickly fruit.
Oh.
What are they
Can't think of
used for?
Jams and flavouring gin.
Oh, yes, a
And
gin,
now you've
gin,
got my
gin.
attention.
I know it's a gin.
To speak Australian, topping a pav.
Ah.
There we go.
Now we get it.
Okay, I get it. Yeah,
And
we get it.
They're quite prickly. And what we did was we drove about a 40-minute drive. I was the one with the car, packed the car with my friends, one of whom went on to be a very famous TV actor, one of whom was the son of an England international footballer.
Oh my
And
god.
his name was Richard. And here's what went.
Richard Beckham.
No, yes,
Oh,
bit
yes.
older. Latchford, Bob Latchford from
Okay.
Everton in England in the 1980s.
Okay.
But here's the fun part. We get there, we're told what to do. We're not paid an hourly rate. We're paid by the pallet. So you've got to fill a pallet with these sharp fucking gooseberries.
Do you have little gloves?
Well, I think we had gloves, yeah. They weren't
Like-
monsters, but they
Okay.
weren't thick gloves. You got
So you
pricked
got still.
regularly.
Oh,
yeah.
forget it.
And it's back-breaking stuff because the gooseberry plant
Yes.
is very low bush. And £3.60, I remember it was £3.60 a pallet.
Oh my gosh.
And
How long would it take to fill a pallet?
well,
you reckon?
Bob Latchford's boy, Richard,
Very
he
fast.
could do maybe a pallet and a half an hour. He was on fire. He was just a machine. But the rest of us,
Still shit money
maybe
though, isn't it?
2 hours to fill a pallet.
Gas bag, and you're having a good time
Well,
out there.
we weren't having a good time because we
No, we were not having a good time out there, dude.
experiencing back pain that only pensioners can truly understand. and we also knew it was a 40-minute drive back. And we were so bad at it. The guy paid us, went, well, you've done 5 pallets in 8 hours, so that's this much money. And he paid us in coins.
Oh, he emptied out his
So you got your
shrapnel.
little like bit of newspaper full of coins, and then you go back
So
to.
depressing.
And again, we didn't last more than a week. So
And was that supposed to be how you were going to
This was
fund
how
your
we fund
Edinburgh?
our Edinburgh Fringe run.
What did you think it was going to be? Like, did you think like how much money did you think you were going to make
More.
a day?
Heaps more. I thought it'd be a
I
millionaire
thought-
when I left.
I mean, because I didn't realise you're picking gooseberries. I didn't know what size they are. You're thinking, well,
What size are
five
they?
in a pallet. No, they're about the A big.
Or like a
10
big
cents
plum,
coin.
like a small plum?
Big plum, but like a sea mine because it's full of spikes.
Yeah, forget it.
But also the joy of going this to do Edinburgh Fringe, and then when you get to Edinburgh
Yeah.
Fringe, and sometimes it can be rough when you start there.
Always.
And then you're on stage going, fuck, that gooseberry job was pretty good. Wouldn't mind going back to that.
A couple
Actually-
of people stopped and watched us for a while.
Yeah.
I watched
Didn't have to give
a
out flyers.
I watched a documentary once. It was about how in England there were a lot of like I guess boomers who were like, oh, not even boomers, younger, but like really disgruntled white people who were like, all these European people are coming and taking our jobs.
This was the Brexit.
It was that, and they were coming to take our jobs. They're coming to take our jobs, and they were like, "Oh, okay." And they were like, "I can't find a job. I'm unemployed. All I want is one." And the documentarians were like, "Oh, so if we could get you a job that one of these European people have taken, would you do it?" And they were like, "Absolutely." Absolutely. And the build up to this was huge. It went for ages. So you're like, oh my God, this guy really wants a job. Just be this like fat slob in his flat being like, yeah, I want a job. And then they go, great, because there's an asparagus, like we need a job for an asparagus picker. And there's a Spanish guy who's doing it like in no time. You just have to pick asparagus. Asparagus, when in season, they grow like twice a day. Like a spear.
Like rhubarb.
What?
Yeah,
crazy.
it grows so
Twice a
quickly.
day?
Yeah.
It's like
but
time-lapse photography in real time.
it's
Really?
amazing.
Yeah.
You can watch it grow. So you can so you get to the
over
end
the
of
course
the
of the day,
field.
their voices drop. It's incredible.
They get pimples and horny at the same time.
I'm asparagus. Pick me.
So they pick a thing and then they go back and then they have to go pick it again. But they're constantly bent. There's no way you can make that job comfortable.
Yep.
And they just have special
No
sharp
knee
things.
pads. I remember that. I was like, is there any knee pads? It's like,
What for?
Grow a pair, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Grow
Yeah, they're
up.
called your skin over your knee. Can't get over it.
And so they got this guy he did like 10 minutes or something and then was like, oh, I'm
Don't like
actually too sick. I'm
This
too
was the
sick.
mad thing. Brexit, where we voted to leave Europe. All the farming communities were like, no, we don't want Europeans here. Get them out. They all
my
voted
God.
for Brexit.
Oh my
and then the
God.
next year, all their crops rotted in the ground.
Yes.
Because they couldn't get European
Of
migrant
course.
workers.
Really?
That was how short-sighted they were.
That is
They
insane.
need the Polish. They need the fucking
And
do.
I
Polish.
was
the
doing
working
gigs
class.
around that part of the world during the build-up to Brexit, and it's where you'd have stand-up rows in car parks with people going, you don't know what you're talking about, you bloody communist. We need to get them out here. It's not about immigration. It's about national pride and sovereignty.
Oh
And I
my
go,
God.
What's
And
going to happen to your
also-
farm?
yeah.
Don't care. Get them out.
I don't care. They can rot. I don't want the potatoes out of the ground. I want them in there forever. But I thought that was really, I thought that was really interesting. It's because I think Australians, we get a lot of criticism for being racist, and I think that is fair. I think it's fair.
I think every country's
it's
pretty
fair.
racist though
But
as well.
the UK, when we had like Brexit, was like a real.
Brexit was very
like a
divisive.
real
Oh my
real
goodness.
moment in global history where we're like, oh yeah, you guys are heaps racist, and also you're forgetting like how much you need the Polish. When I lived in Ireland, they all of the cleaners, all of the people that I
Well,
worked
in South
with
London,
were
it was
Polish.
noticeable that in hospitality, all the pubs you went to, you went, oh, why am I queuing up for drinks now? Oh, that's right.
Oh, because
Two less staff.
Yes, and also the British are pouring them.
Well, it's
They're on a
It's the
break.
manager who's in a real strop. 'cause He
Yeah.
hasn't got the very attractive Svetlana to do it for him.
There's no babe pouring my beer. I'm not coming back.
I'm
here.
not doing it. I've actually got a job picking
The landlord's
asparagus.
pouring his own beer. He goes, I've really misjudged this.
Yeah,
I love those
totally.
documentaries though when they'd have a chat with someone, but their mind of like, we got you a job. We'll get you a job. Do you want a job? Yeah. And then their mind, I'm like, yeah, I could be a CEO or an engineer.
Yeah,
You're like,
absolutely.
no.
I'll
You're
be
unqualified
yeah.
and you're on a TV show about cunts with no jobs.
Yeah.
What
You're
do you
picking
reckon it's
someone up.
gonna
It's, you're physically moving shit.
Yeah.
I'll be a rally car driver. That's fine. No worries.
Yeah, F1, I wouldn't mind that. President,
Actor. I'll be an actor.
Yeah, I could be in a porno maybe. I don't know. Let me know, guys. I'm around for stuff.
So gooseberry picking. Every time someone says gooseberry, which is very rare for me to hear that, I think of Willy Wonka. Do you remember watching
Oh
that?
yeah, when that Veronica and she turned into a
blueberry.
raspberry.
No, she turned into a blueberry.
Oh,
She
okay,
turned
I'm
into a
wrong.
Well, I think they're from the same family
gooseberries.
tree, maybe. Gooseberries.
Tastes like gooseberries.
They don't taste the taste of geese at all.
Because we don't grow. Why don't we grow them?
I've no idea.
You know what it is?
Racism.
Yes, correct. The end.
No
That's
one
been another
prepared
great
to pick
episode,
them.
guys.
They're too spiky.
Yeah, they
I-
sound horrible.
I think with berries, and I may be
They
wrong.
don't want to be picked.
Yeah.
Nick Capper told me
That's
this.
the trouble with these gooseberries. They
and
don't
he
want
knows
to be
about
picked.
farming. It's to do with the cold climate and the cold snap. And with berry fruit, they need to have a bit of frost, otherwise they can't ripen.
They bloody do.
Bang.
They can't what?
Kappa told me that, and it was the most smartest thing he's ever said
I
to
don't
me in
believe
a sentence, and he's
he said
correct.
it.
Yeah, he made.
What do you mean?
some
They
farmer
can't
stuff.
what? Without
So
the
they need
cold
to have a
snap, they
moment where
They
they're
need a
kind
bit
of
of
nearly
frost.
frozen.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that
okay.
enables him to do something else. When he explained to me, I was like, I don't know what you're saying.
And then
You're
that
so
makes
smart.
the sugar crystallise.
Yes.
Making them more delicious too.
All right. So wouldn't they be amazing at winter?
Well,
Why are they not?
they come
Can't
just
be for too
before
long, though.
winter. They come in the autumn is when they
Got it.
bloom. Or these ones were summer fruiting because
Gooseberry.
we went before the Edinburgh Fringe. So it would have been late July.
So I don't know what the fuck they're doing, these gooseberries. I've always said
just-
that about gooseberries.
Yeah, they just don't want to be part of your
What the fuck are they doing?
pantry.
Now, Gordon, 26 years in comedy, which is
26.
insane,
Yeah.
and also an incredible achievement. How many?
Is it though?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, dude, that's pretty cool.
It's
Fuck.
hard. It's really hard.
I think
Every
about
year's
quitting every
different.
day.
I was
Yeah.
in Logan Home 2 weeks ago. Anyway,
Yes.
crack on.
What was that for? Was that Fitzy's?
It's really nice, actually.
Great.
It was actually really nice.
Fitzy's is a sit-down gig,
Yes.
and I have had a great time there. One time I performed to two people. It was a man and his carer, and he ate his dinner the entire night, and she made sure he didn't choke.
So, yeah, I remember that couple. But we had
I don't think they were a couple.
front middle.
They were a
this,
couple.
this guy, no,
Don't
yeah,
Don't
thrown together
romanticise
by
that. That's
economic
her.
necessity.
She was working.
But there was a guy in the front row who turned up, and I called him the ghost of Paul Hogan because
Right.
he had this Akubra hat and leather waistcoat, and he sat there on his own, hair slicked back, quite a
Incredible.
good-looking old rooster, and he was heckling the acts. He was the funniest guy of the night.
Yes.
Don't tell him that. He'll be
He
back
He
every
would
week.
love it.
Afterwards, he said, "I'd like to come up next week," and it's like next month, mate. Yeah, go for it.
Yes.
And
yeah,
then he said,
come-
check out my Instagram. And he had like 50,000 followers. I went, you're
Whoa.
more famous than everyone on this bill put
yeah.
together.
What, do you remember his name?
Crocktails is his name.
Crocktails.
Crocktails.
Shout out to Crocktail.
Yeah. And he does little bits to camera like, we don't drink Fosters. Cut.
50 million views.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
When you said performing to a man with a carer, that gave me a flashback to my final gig before the lockdown,
Yes.
which was Brisbane. So we're in Brisbane for Brisbane Comedy Festival. The day after Melbourne goes into the lockdown, I've got to fly back in. On Tuesday it happens or whatever. Final gig, world's in crisis. So sold out show. No one's coming. Of course.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Why would you?
But-
why risk it?
Exactly. Unless you're a person who's in a wheelchair and you've pre-booked your taxi and
yeah, of course.
you've already got a carer organised and blah, blah, blah. So my final gig in Brisbane,
2 humans.
3 people in wheelchairs, non-verbal,
Yep.
with carers.
Yep.
Great. Thanks for coming. Much
Perfect.
appreciated.
Yep.
But no one can laugh because they're
They can't
non-verbal.
laugh. Oh, right.
But also then the carers are like, well, these guys like Brett, but we don't. So they're just sitting on the phone behind the wheelchair.
Fabulous.
So I'm literally, it was like Gold Coast again. I'm doing a gig and I don't even know if they liked it because there was no ha-ha button on the machine. I don't know.
And there was no boo button.
There's no, I don't know. So it was me just doing an hour show and I hope they had a great time and please come back. But
An
there was
hour?
Yeah, I did a full solo show to 3 legos in a wheelchair, which I appreciate you coming.
Yes.
But I had no way of knowing whether what I was saying was good.
I
'Cause
reckon they loved it.
I reckon they loved it.
I know they loved it.
Okay,
I texted them earlier.
great.
And
Am
they
I
said-
sharing trauma again on this
No,
podcast?
you're
I'm
not.
oversharing my
You're doing
trauma.
a great job.
Oh my god.
So, Gordo, have you ever had a dreadful boss? And it could even just
Roy!
Roy.
You asked
wanna
me
know
this
about
question before, and I went, "Who's my worst boss?" And it's
Yes.
Roy by a country mile.
Okay,
So,
great. Tell us about Roy.
the venue, the village, Southwood and Ferrers, Essex.
Yes.
Round about early 90s. I'm a precocious, what was it? Drama, film, and philosophy.
All
A
this.
triple threat in no workforce. And I'm quite arrogant at that age, as I'm sure you can imagine. And I get a job at Shore Farm, which is a pub carvery. Roy, an alcoholic
Right.
Welshman. I didn't know at the time what alcoholics were, but he was.
It's a Welshman.
And he said, I had a pub out up in the valleys, but they've moved me here because I was naughty.
Fuck, you're good at that accent, aren't
It was-
you?
well,
Fuck.
that's the acting and the
That's
philosophy
nailed-
and all
yes,
that.
oh my God.
Fuck
Nailed it.
around, dude.
Nailed it.
So Roy's there and he's a drunk and he's running the place badly. And then he had a little henchman, a little Irish guy, he looked like a disgraced jockey, tiny.
Okay.
And this guy would do his bidding. So
Okay.
He'd like, oh, yes,
Royce.
boss.
Oh,
Of
okay,
course,
yeah.
boss. Yes,
Oh, wow.
boss. I'll sort
Great.
that out, boss. So this mismatched, terrible duo, it was like Dastardly and Muttley in the Wacky Races.
Yeah, great.
And I was there like a do-it-all. I did bartending, I did prep chefing, I even cooked the first ever vegetarian meal they had at the Carvery, which was a vegetarian lasagna. What was the technology like in those days? I shall tell you. To cook the vegetarian lasagna from frozen, 30 minutes. 30 minutes in a microwave.
Right.
And it came out like sort of concrete.
That can't.
Oh my God.
30 minutes of anything in a microwave cannot be good.
No.
It was one of the earlier microwaves.
So it wasn't as hot as a.
Clockwork.
But I also like how you're like, I cooked the first, and I was like,
Well, no
oh,
one
what
ever
did you-
orders a
but-
vegetarian
so
meal
it's just
in a
frozen.
Carvery.
Yes, no.
It's the 90s. Vegetarian's a collector's item anyway.
When people used to order well done steaks at this shit pub I used to work in, the chef would go, "Oh, well done," and then you'd see a man throw a steak into the microwave like it was nothing, throw a steak in there and just turn it on, and that's how cook
and
well
then
done.
just fry it a
fucking
bit.
nuke the fucking thing and burn it each side so it looked like it
Yeah.
was cooked.
Like it'd been
It's quicker.
cooked. Well,
Shame on them. So Roy, what did Roy?
so I don't know what happened, but it came to a head. I think Roy was, because I didn't understand that when someone says, "I'll have a drink, have one for yourself," I didn't know this. You're supposed to put the money in the tip jar. You're not supposed
Got
to
it.
have the drink.
Oh,
But I didn't know that.
sounds like Roy didn't know that either. Yeah.
So I was.
Yeah, Roy's not the only problem at this pub. It's fucking you, dude.
Well, afterwards I went, oh, of course that makes a lot more sense, because I was, on a good night, I'd
Yeah, I'm
be
busy.
weaving home afterwards. Going, oh,
God, I can't do
get
this
paid for this. So Roy took me to one side to tell me off, and rather than take the telling off, I'm a drama student in my 20s, all cheekbones and opinions,
Yeah.
and I just went, you know what, Roy? I reckon I could run this pub better than you.
Incredible.
20-year-old kid.
Roy would have loved that.
And Roy gave me such a ticking off. But rather than go, oh, I'm sorry, I was out of line, I go, like, you know what? Stick your job up your arse. And that little guy needs to sort his life out, that he's doing all this shit that you can't be bothered to sort out
Perfect.
yourself. So I
Great.
gave him
That
both
is an
barrels of a possibly unloaded gun.
This is a spectacular quitting story, isn't it? That was
think
your
it
way
is.
to. This is
I love
spectacular
it.
because we don't often get them, because usually people are like, oh, no, I just wanted to, but you did it.
You did
This was almost like a soliloquy, like, I stand before you, a drama student with potential hopes and dreams, and you, Roy, are crushing mine.
But also,
You've already crushed the dreams of the tiny Irish fellow. I shall not stand for it.
also the idea of an alcoholic man pulling you to the side to straighten you up. Like, brother, you've had too much to drink. We've got, you know what I mean? You got to behave yourself. You're like, what the fuck? How am I getting rinsed
No,
by
because
you?
also I was going, we should make the following improvements in the kitchen. And he's like, didn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
You should
Roy,
do this.
one of your ears is bleeding.
I was moaning about the vegetarian lasagna and went, it's the only one we've cooked all summer. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, no, I'll never come back.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
And he's like, my name's Roy. I'm an alcoholic. I'm 40. I've been fired from my last job. Please, I do not give a fuck about this business. I do not need someone's
clear.
opinions. I'm not
But
changing
this is what
anything.
they do with bad landlords. They move them around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
like
minimise
priests.
the
Like
damage.
yeah, I was gonna say
Like
pedo priest.
naughty
Yeah.
priests or like inefficient teachers.
Oh, there's so
Don't
many.
fire
of them.
Bronny up about
There we
teaching.
go.
Bronny used to be a teacher. You know
There
what's
we
out.
go.
A few of them.
So what is so these sound like dreadful jobs, but what is if you've been in comedy for 27 years, what is the worst? And I'm not sure if you will have an answer for this. What is the worst gig you've ever done?
Oh, there's a lot of candidates.
I imagine. Yeah.
Dude, there'll be so many. Like,
Was it with
it's-
Brett?
It was me.
They
It
were
was
quite
last
good.
month.
I did one in Afghanistan,
Yeah, it sounds
Oh,
hard.
where
like the military one with the
yeah.
vests and all that shit.
and it was
That's
to
awesome.
a signalman regiment, and one of them had been killed by a car bomb earlier that day.
No, why would the comedy show keep going?
Well,
'Cause they
comedy would
paid
cheer
for it.
everyone up.
That was the thought. That was the thought.
No,
And I
it
walked out on
won't.
stage, and I thought, okay, I've watched the service. There's been a memorial. There's been all sorts of long silences. All of that all day. And I get there on stage, and I'm kind of emotional as well, because I'd been in one of those armoured personnel carriers the day before. And I went, well, that could have been us.
Shit.
But he was the top gunner, so all the people inside it were safe, but he got bloody cut in half. So I walk on stage going, right, up in those hills are the Taliban. We're about to tell jokes and have free speech. We're about to have music and listen to rock and roll, and we're going to have dancing people. And these are all things the Taliban are trying to stop. What do you say we show them what we've got? And the crowd just went, yeah!
Oh, great.
Hell yeah, dude.
We've got them.
Yeah.
And then I started telling jokes.
And they were crying.
The high point was that opening sentence.
Oh, my God. You should have walked straight off after that.
Just went, anyway, let's get the band on. I didn't.
Where are those dancing people I
You know,
mentioned?
like a gig's going so bad, you're like, man, I reckon bring up more photos of the guy that just died. You know what I mean?
They
Like,
did that at the end. They did
Out of
that
this.
at the end. But yeah, I didn't have to perform in front of his face, at least.
Oh, my God.
But the worst one in terms of how bad could this gig possibly be? So the year is probably late 90s, early noughties. Manchester, England. A lovely club called the Frog and Bucket, which is
I
in
love the name
Ancoats,
already.
in Ancoats, one of the more working class parts of Manchester. And it's the afternoon, and it's near Christmas, and the boss has paid for his workforce, all middle-aged blokes, to have a comedy treat. So he's put, back then this was a lot of money, something like 500 quid behind the bar.
That's a lot of money today.
So over $1,000, and to these 15 lads,
Yes.
just fill your boots, get drunk, enjoy the comedy. I can't be there because I hate you.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
want
doing
nothing to do with you
anything else.
scumbags.
They were rough around the edges. They were all looked like I was going to say police procedural dramas from the 90s.
Perfect. I know exactly what you mean.
Ill-fitting suits, nicotine, slightly
Like,
grey skin,
nothing
from
symmetrical.
daily drinking,
Yeah.
and poorly assembled faces, all of that.
Poorly assembled faces.
And the whole gig, everyone died. They're screaming, they're shouting, "Get off! Tell us a joke! Get your tits out!" To a man, like
What?
it was, and I knew that it was going to get even worse because as the gig ended prematurely, the two bouncers who'd been on their walkie-talkies all the way through, as the show ended, they went now, and the double doors opened, and every bouncer from the surrounding pubs, clubs, and nightclubs formed a sort of human chain. Sorry.
No, I can do this.
They formed a human chain on either side of them. You know when they put out fires in the old days?
Oh, my
Passing the
gosh.
bucket. And they were there, stopping them, dispersing around so that they could funnel them out of the gig. Because they're now like fighting each other, trying to fight the bouncers, trying to get to the comedians.
Whoa.
You've wasted so much of my time, I'm going to fuck you up.
What?
And the last thing they said, Crumpsall's a bit of Manchester, went, we are the Crumpsall Mafia.
Very cool.
It was Oasis. It was Oasis. Spoiler alert. We are the Crumpsall Mafia, and you ain't heard the last of this.
What?
Like they were going to get their mates and come back.
Oh, my
They
God.
didn't. They went to another pub. But in terms of...
That's how insane that audience
They
was.
were
That
mad.
that they
Bouncers
were like,
had to
we
call
need...
They're from
other
Manchester.
bouncers.
They were mad for it.
Every pub was left unmanned.
They had to, yeah. It's like the code red, press the red button, get the bouncers, get all the bouncers.
So when you were on stage...
How old are you? Also, how old are you at this stage? You're like,
I'm in my 20s.
You're like,
Oh
I
my-
cannot do anything here. I can't.
I'm gonna
fight,
die.
fuck.
And we're doing
where's
what,
this philosophy
what every
Greece, I'm gonna
brave,
help you?
what every they don't like drama, philosophy, or comments about movies. So, like every brave comedian is, we're just sort of behind the stage, just hiding. I think someone's got a mic stand. Like, if it comes to it,
Yeah.
I'll hold them off.
Yeah, I'll whack him. I'll bop him. I'll
Guys,
bop
we can
with
fight them
this.
off with our childhood trauma. All right, I've got another joke.
like-
Exactly. I can act
Puns,
like something.
wordplay. No, someone bring an observational bit. Still nothing.
That sounds terrifying. That's
I love that. When you hear now and you're like, what's that for?
what's-
And then the doors are like, it's like a fucking riot.
And it is
Yeah.
like sort of, I
That's
don't
a
know,
riot
Love Island,
squad.
all these really buff geezers, just like
Holy
will
shit.
link arms.
And then you continue to do comedy after.
No,
You know
that
what?
was it.
I'm out.
There
I'm
was
out.
no other audience. It was just this. It was
It
a
was for
corporate
them.
gig.
It was them.
It was a corporate gig. Was it
my
corporate
God.
money? Thanks for asking. No, but
I was
It
gonna
never
ask
is,
that.
brother. It never is. Mate, we gave him 2 free drinks and we tried to kill him twice. What else do you fucking want?
We
they
saved
were-
his life.
they were so aggro.
Yeah, that sounds really scary. Thank
I don't think
Christ
I've
I
ever
wasn't.
only once been close to being bashed
At
on
a gig?
stage at a gig. Yeah,
Never.
I surprise, surprise, was in Perth. Actually, no. One time someone threw a full beer bottle at my head at an open mic that started at 11 o'clock at the Brass Monkey. And then the second time, a guy was kind of heckling me, but I didn't mean to do this, but it just so happened that it happened. It wasn't meant to be an insult. So someone was heckling me, talking shit, bit of back and forth, but I couldn't see him. But I step out of the light, and then I actually notice him. And then I go, fuck, I know who that is, but I don't intentionally mean to do this. And I said, oh, is your name Ben? And he's like, yeah. And I said, I used to date your sister. Because I did used to date his sister. And I didn't mean to say that. I was shocked and confused by the situation. But it looked to the audience like, oh.
He's remixing I Fucked Your Mum.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
Nice
but then he
Very good.
like, that's why he was yelling and giving me shit. And then his mate runs up onto stage and grabs the mic. Fuck, once again, I think it's me.
It is. This has never happened to me.
He fucked his sister into the mic. And I was like, oh.
Yes.
Yes
or no?
Yes, but no. Actually, no. She was a gentleman, a lady.
She was a gentleman.
She was a gentleman.
Surprise!
Snap ending.
Blue balloon, not pink balloon.
Yeah, we didn't fuck, we docked. Anyway, and then
went in Fremantle.
Oh my God.
We are the Freo Dockers. And that I didn't mean for any of that to happen. And I was like, fuck. And obviously I didn't mean for someone to come grab the mic. And then when I was like, the gig finished, and I was like, oh, cool, I'm still, finish the joke, leave. And then get into the car park, and he fucking nearly tried to like run me over in his fucking Hilux, and then got out the window and was like, look, you don't fucking kick your fucking teeth in. I was like,
this is wild.
That's
man.
amazing.
This
Lucky
is
I didn't kick your teeth in. I just ran you over. You're welcome. I'm a gentleman, as is my sister. I've had someone wait for me. So I was doing a gig somewhere really nice in South London, but this guy heckled throughout the whole gig. Coked up little electrician Herbert.
You'd have heaps in London like that.
Coked up Herbert.
Yes.
Oh, it's our principal export.
Oh my God.
primary export. Lamb and coked up electrician.
How do you think I got here 15 years ago?
Well, because Coke is so...
I've been chucked out of London. No one needs to know why. Anyway, give us a visa. I like kangaroos. So,
God, Gordon, you're looking so thin and alert.
This guy was heckling so much throughout the show, and I'd heard someone do this once. I went, oh, I'll make this work. And I went, how much did you pay to get in? He goes, £8. I go, there's a tenner. Is your money back? Fuck off.
Great.
Love it.
But he continued to sit there and heckle. So after the show...
Did he take it?
He took the money. So after the show, I said, I believe... And I had a few beers by this point, so I had...
And a line or two?
Shade of... No. I was professional.
Sorry, Gordon. Sorry.
Coked up Herbert.
Yes.
Come on.
I said, you've got something of mine? And he went, what's that? And I said, I gave you a tenner to fuck off and you didn't. And he just sort of went, no, I'm keeping it. And again, this isn't me at all. I was channeling someone much more aggressive.
Was it because of the acting training? You know what I mean? I'm Hercules.
I channeled something from a Guy Ritchie movie. I swear to God, this is so like ballsy. I said, if you don't give me that tenner back, the next thing you see will be the bottom of the stairs.
Fucking dude, that is you're starting to fight right there.
It was about 5'5".
Okay, you win. You're gonna win. You're gonna win.
It was
so
a
he
child.
gives me the tenner back.
Oh, great.
But then he gets to the bottom of the stairs and he goes, no, this ain't right. So he waits outside to beat me up. And I had to get a bigger comedian to walk me to my car.
Holy hell. That's very cool. So you got Bev Killick to walk you to the car.
Mickey Flanagan.
Television's
Mickey Flanagan. He was a big, big unit. He's like, oh, don't worry, Gordon. I'll walk you to your car, mate. Be all right. Don't worry.
Not worried. We need Bev. We need Bev Killick. Bev Killick came on this podcast before. I feel like if anyone can bash anyone, it's Bev Killick.
She's been in another... obviously, you've worked with Bev before.
I was talking about Bev with a mate the other day.
Everyone is always talking about Bev.
Let's come and walk your tiny little dog.
Yeah,
you expect her to have like a Rottie or a Staffy, but she's got this little
tiny
Louis Vuitton type.
Yeah.
She told us this crazy story. So the heavyweight champion of the world or whatever the fuck it is in UFC, crazy fighter, she did an ad with this guy who's the biggest fighter, Volkanovski. In the world, in the UFC, multi-millionaire, huge guy, nicest person in the world.
Just Beth duff him up.
Bev does a commercial with him and doesn't know shit about him and is like yelling at him and like riffing lines like because it's the Octagon.
She's supposed to be like a frustrated
neighbor, and she's like, I don't fucking smash you in the hexagon. She's never met this guy before.
All right, little fighter boy.
Yeah, and it's so funny. But then Bev messages me the other day when she's on set. She's doing another ad with Volkanovski and still no idea who he is. Like it's like fucking Mike Tyson in the UFC world. And Bev's like, so we started riffing and I'll probably giving away the commercial, but at the end, Bev goes, we're riffing and mucking around, but I pushed his head into a paella. So Bev grabbed the heavyweight champion's fucking head and pushed it into a paella on set.
I'm sorry, I've not seen UFC enough, but isn't it already quite dangerous? And then you've got seafood and rabbit together in the octagon.
And
these people know no fear.
The guy who is one of the best fighters in the world was like, yes, ma'am.
Of course they would.
You would not, even he's not fucking with Bev.
Yeah, we all need Bev at every rough gig we've ever gone to.
My spirit animal.
Yeah, she's the best.
Street fighting Bev.
Street fighting Bev. Now, thank you so much for joining us, Gordon. Now, obviously, you're around at most festivals. People should go definitely check out your show. Is there a place they can find you on Instagram? Where can people get you?
Instagram, Gordon Southern Comedian.
Hell
Gordon
yeah.
as in gin, Southern as in comfort. Comedian,
perfect.
as you would expect to spell it.
Actually, I can't spell, so you're going to have to fucking spell that out for me. But no, if you're at any festival, please make sure you go check out Gordon Southern. He's so fucking good. You're going to have a great time. You can see him and me on a dinghy at any stage. We're two premier.
We'll be playing the
dinghy
Manly Ferry in Sydney.
Yeah. We're in the Yarra later tonight.
Penrith?
Just hanging out. That's our energy.
And if you are from Crumpsall in Greater Manchester, please stay away.
He's not
I will
interested.
see you at the bottom of the stairs. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks,
we really appreciate you
Gordon.
coming on.
Thanks,
It means a lot to
Gordon.
us. Thanks, guys. If you're not already on the Patreon, please get onto it. We really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, enjoy all the content. Until next time, have a great time. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
I've been fired from a lot of places. I've been fired from so many places.
I went into the class one day, real bullets.